The Road to Mecca by Muhammad Asad was written in 1954. The main message of the book is an evocation of the beauty of Islamic faith and its role in humanity spiritual evolution. The Road to Mecca is now surprisingly little known, but remains one of the 20th century great accounts of spiritual transformation. In no way a full story of Asad's life, it covers only the years he spent in Arabia as a young man, and specifically a 23 days journey in Mecca in the summer of 1932. In Asad's mind, European no longer had the awareness that the universe was an expression of one's planning mind, and thus formed one organic whole. Instead of faith, the West had put science and technology at the center of life, with the result that legitimacy was only given to things that could be physically proven. There was no longer any room for God in its intellectual system. The distorted vision, he comments, began with the Greeks and Romans, who identified themselves as civilized and the rest of the world as barbarian. The Western mind contemplated Hinduism or Buddhism with interest and equanimity because they seemed so alien, but Islam, because it had come from the same tradition as Judeo Christian theology, was feared as a competition. This antipathy was expressed in the Crusades, which, in providing a common enemy for the Christian, brought Europe together. According to Asad, the Crusades were the beginning of poisoning the Western mind against the Muslim world through a deliberate misinterpretation of the teachings and ideals of Islam. He realized that he was in the unique position of having fully known both cultural hemispheres. I was a Muslim, but I was also of Western origin, and thus I could speak the intellectual language of both Islam and the West. He was careful to point out that it was not the Muslim people that made him convert to Islam, but rather his love of Islam that encouraged him to stay living in Muslim countries. As a scholar of Muslim history and culture, Asad notes that Islamic learning had led the world during the centuries after Muhammad's death, and the reason was simple. The new religion was a profoundly rational one that exhorted believers to marvel at and understand God's creation. The Prophet had said, striving after knowledge is most sacred during duty for every Muslim man and woman. It was not the Muslim that had made Islam great, it was Islam that had made the Muslim great.